Donald Trump has been fined $9,000 for violating a gag order at his hush money porn star trial in New York, with the judge threatening to jail him for future violations. The best way of understanding this gag order issue is that it's a limited gag order, meaning that Trump is allowed to speak about the case. He is allowed to publicly blast the judge, which he has done at every opportunity. He is allowed to criticize the district attorney in Manhattan, which he has done at every opportunity. What he's not allowed to do is to speak publicly about witnesses at the trial and about jurors in the trial. And that's where he's gotten himself into a little bit of trouble. Most notably, Trump has reposted certain posts on his Truth Social account that attack the jury as a whole and have implied that there are liberal Democrats who have tried to trick their way onto the jury. And that's what's got him in a bit of trouble with the judge, who has fined him $1,000 for that post and $1,000 for 8 other posts. Those posts also include posts that took aim at witnesses Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because Trump has said, hey, I should be allowed to fight back against Michael Cohen, who has also spoken out a ton against Trump. And that's where the court is trying to figure out what to do. There was actually one social media post that the judge chose not to fine Trump for, where he could have, where he said maybe this is in response to a quote-unquote political attack, so he chose not to. But the issue with the jury is something that Trump should be very careful about, because courts really go out of their way to protect the integrity of juries. And the jury in this case is 12 everyday Manhattanites coming from various walks of life. They all swore that they had not attended either a pro-Trump rally or any sort of rally that was specifically anti-Trump. And they've been sitting there, doing the job of a jury, which is paying attention to the evidence, and eventually they'll be asked to make a decision. It is highly unlikely that Donald Trump goes to jail as a result of this gag order violation. It's kind of a hard spot for the judge, because the judge can only fine Trump $1,000 per violation of this gag order. And as Trump himself has noted, he has a lot more money than that. So fining him $9,000 isn't really going to do anything. Fining him $90,000 is probably not going to do much of anything. So the court has been honest about that and is trying to figure out what to do. Because on the other hand, if you try to send a former president to Rikers Island, it would be a logistical nightmare, and the Secret Service that follows him everywhere would likely have to be with him. Meanwhile, despite Trump at every opportunity calling the judge, Juan Merchan, crooked and corrupt and quote-unquote conflicted, the judge did hand him a win in court this week when the judge said, hey, you want off from trial to go to your son Barron's graduation? You're all set. You're all good. Friday, May 17th, the trial will be off so that Donald Trump can attend his son Barron's high school graduation in Florida. Meanwhile, in the courtroom on the stand right now is Keith Davidson, who is the lawyer for both Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, who were the 2 women that negotiated hush money payments in the run-up to the 2016 presidential election. Davidson has been an important witness for the prosecution because he's allowed them to introduce a lot of the evidence of a paper trail. One fun moment happened when Davidson was describing the non-disclosure agreement that was struck between Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels. And jurors saw a copy of that agreement, and instead of the name Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump, they used pseudonyms. It did not say Donald, it did not say Trump, it said David Dennison. Then the lawyer for Stormy Daniels was asked, does that name mean anything to you? And he said, well, actually, it was the name of a guy I went to high school with. We were on the hockey team together. And then the prosecutor asked, how does David think of you now? And Stormy's lawyer said, well, he's pretty pissed off at me. He's pretty upset with me now. The case will pick back up Thursday morning with Keith Davidson still on the stand, and he's expected to undergo a blistering cross-examination from Trump's attorneys.